Hey guys, this is Caleb with DSLRvideoshooter.com, and I'm coming to you from a lens that only cost me $15. We're going to talk about where you can find these lenses, what they are, and how you can get them to work on your HDSLR today on the DSLR Video Shooter podcast. Hey guys, this is Caleb with DSLRvideoshooter.com, and today I'm excited to talk about a set of very affordable and pretty decent little lenses. So what are these lenses? These are FD lenses, Canon FD lenses. They're older, all-manual lenses that Canon had for their film camera line, and so they're a different mount than the actual EOS mount. And there are definitely some pros and cons to using these lenses, and we're going to get to that a little bit later. And the way that you're able to use these on your HDSLR is with an adapter. Now, you'll recall we did a video not too long ago talking about how to use Nikon lenses on Canon HDSLRs. And it's a similar adapter. The only difference is there's actually a lens element. You may be able to see that right in the middle. And that's because on these FDs, there's actually an element that is included in EOS camera or EOS lenses, but they aren't on these. So that's kind of interesting. And these adapters aren't really that expensive. You can find them anywhere from cheapo $15 ones all the way up to about $50. I'm using the Photox version, which has worked very well for me. And it's about $20, and we'll put a link to that in the show notes. They do attach a little differently, and we're going to show you guys how to actually mount these to the individual lenses. But let's go ahead and talk about the lenses. I have 3 that I picked up on eBay. All of them were under $20, which for the image quality that you're going to see a little later is pretty ridiculous. So the first one, this is the first one I picked up. It's a Canon 50mm f1.8. And again, all these lenses are completely manual, which is probably why photographers are trying to get rid of them, because they're trying to upgrade to newer electronic lenses with autofocus. So let's go ahead and jump right into the pros and cons. So the first real con, I think, is that you're going to find with a lot of these FD lenses that when they're wide open, they get a little soft. So this one, the f1.8, when you open it all the way up, when you try to get it perfect focus, you'll notice just a little bit of that kind of soft glow to it. The way to fix that is just to stop it down, and you'll see a dramatic difference in sharpness. So that can be a little bit of a problem if you're trying to shoot in a low light situation. But it's not too bad, and you can always add sharpening a little bit in post. But I found anywhere, like on this lens, the f1.8, anywhere from f2, 2.2, 2.8 and onward, dramatically improved on the sharpness front. The second con is that you lose about a stop of light, and that's through the transfer from the lens, the light entering the lens, through the adapter to the sensor of the camera. So you will lose about a stop of light. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to lose as much depth of field though. So you're still able to get some awesome depth with these lenses. And another con to using FD lenses is that there's actually an additional crop factor when using them. And that's the crop happening because of this little element of glass in the adapter. So the crop factor is a 1.26. which if you add that, like for instance, I have the Canon 70, which already has a 1.6 crop factor. If you take that and add the 1.26, which is what's going to happen in that conversion, this 50mm lens is just about 100mm. So that's just something to consider when you're picking up these lenses, is that they're going to be longer than the original size. And then, of course, they're completely manual focus. So you're not going to have autofocus. You're not going to be able to control your aperture from the camera body. And with video, that's not as big a deal. But if you're going to try to shoot stills with these, they could be a little more difficult to work. Now onto the stuff that really blows my mind, and that's the pros on these little lenses. The first one being the low, crazy low price. that you can find online for these. This is a really nice 50mm f1.8, 20 bucks. Another lens I have here is a 135mm Beck lens. Gorgeous bokeh on this lens, $10. And then finally, a push-pull zoom. This is an 80 to 200, which gives me up to about 400 with the crop factor. And this one is around $10 as well. So for that, all three lenses, including the adapter, you're still under $100. And so if you're getting started and need some longer lenses, they work really nice. The second pro is that they are actually longer lenses because of the crop factor. So it is kind of a pro and a con. You're not going to be able to get very wide with FDs, but if you're looking for a telephoto lens and you're going to go on a trip or be shooting a lot of outdoors telephoto stuff for a very low price, you can get in and start shooting. Because let's be honest, if you wanted to go out and buy a 400mm EOS mounted lens, it's going to be a couple $100 at least, and those are going to be pretty crappy lenses. So to mess around, dink around with a 400mm for 10 to 50 bucks is definitely worth it. Another pro to these lenses is the quality build of the actual lens body itself. This is the 51.8, and the modern EOS version of this has a really poor focus ring that's loose. It has a lot of breathing to the lens, whereas this little sucker right here has hard stops on both sides. It's actually incredibly smooth lens. The actual throw on it is just shy of 180 degrees. So that's pretty long compared to Canon's other lenses. I have the 51.4, and the focus ring on it feels real cheap. You can feel the motor clunking around in there, whereas these lenses are very smooth. Same goes for this Beck, just gorgeous full metal body enclosure, and just that you can hear that that gorgeous stops. Love that. Long pulls equals easier to manage focus pulling, of course, so that's a huge plus. So now I want to show you guys how to attach the adapter to the lens. So the first thing you'll notice is there are two sides, and the silver side is the one that actually gets attached to the lens. The first thing you want to do is take your lens and the silver locking ring, make sure it has locked into place so you can twist around to get it to go ahead and lock. Then you want to line up the red dots, and you'll just take your adapter, kind of jimmy it in there, and you'll be able to then lock the ring and then the black ring into the locking position. Same goes for putting caps back onto FD lenses. Make sure the ring's locked. Drop the cap in, that'll unlock the ring, tighten it down, and you're good to go. So now I want to really look at a comparison between the Canon EOS mount 50mm f1.4 and the Canon FD 50mm f1.8, just to kind of show you the main differences between a $350 EOS mount and then this $20 FD. So this first shot is the EF 50mm. That's the newer Canon lens, the $350 lens at f1.8. Then you're going to notice really sharp image. Looks great. Real happy with that. And now let's take a look at the FD lens. You'll notice a crop factor, and we'll get to that later, but instantly you're going to see the sharpness difference. This is at f1.8, which is wide open on this FD lens. And you'll notice around the metal parts that we do have a little softness going on there. And then here's the same FD image with a little sharpness added in post. So that is an option if you need to shoot wide open. And once again, here's the 50mm EF lens, the new Canon lens, at f2.8. Plenty sharp. And then here's the FD lens, also at 2.8, and you're going to notice a dramatic sharpness difference from the original shot where it was at f1.8 wide open. So you can see just by stopping it down to 2.8, we've got a much sharper image. So that's something you can do with these FD lenses, is just stop them down a little bit. Now we're going to take a look at the loss of light. So here's a shot with the 50mm EF, and you know, got a piece of paper there, some color, and then here's the shot with the FD lens, and what goes on here is in that conversion you are going to lose a 0.6 stops of light, so not quite a full stop. So here's the EF 50, FD 50, EF 50mm, FD 50mm. Next up in our comparison is crop factor, to show you guys the difference between that crop adapter. So here's a shot with the 50mm EF for 1.26 times crop factor. Our 50mm EF, and the jump with the 50mm FD. So what this means is if you have a 5D Mark II, which is a full frame camera, a 50mm FD lens is going to be the equivalent of a 63mm lens. And on a 70 and other APS-C frame sensors, a 50mm FD is going to be the same as 100mm. And then real quick before I sign off today, I want to show you guys some images I shot over Thanksgiving using only FD lenses. So check them out, and none of these images had sharpness applied in post. So what you see is what you get for sharpness.